Hi, and welcome to this week's True Crime live stream. If you're new here, I'm FEARSONA. You can call me here, Sona, or Red, and I'm your friendly neighborhood True Crime VTuber here to give full body chills. Okay, so in today's stream, we have members-only live chat, so only members can send messages to the live chat, but everyone can watch the stream. So if you just listen, hear about the case, just tune in. You don't have to be active in live chat. You can obviously comment, and I appreciate all the comments, but yeah, today's live chat is for members only. And if you want to join as a member, hey, it's only $3.99, and you can get some pretty cool emotes. And I've recently added some more, so there's quite a lot of them. Okay, so first things first. A little while ago, I covered the unsolved case of the Somerton Man during one of my true crime streams on Patreon. If you are not familiar with the case and you would like to hear about it in detail because it's a long case, I strongly encourage you to research the case or to head over to my Patreon page and get access to the full stream right now. But I am gonna summarize this case very briefly so that, you know, anyone who doesn't know it, you know, you have the idea, because there was a huge update on this case, which is like 73 years old. Let me just switch to my murder board and let me on the case. I can see that people are saying, wait, Chance Freely said that new emote is awesome, Sona. Yeah, this is one of the Discord emotes also, but now I could finally upload it to the members emotes. But thank you. Okay, so it's Sneaky Sona, Sneak Sona. All right, so as for the Somerton Man, this is the alias given to an unknown man found dead on Somerton Beach in Adelaide. In the early, that's in Australia, obviously, in the early morning hours of December 1st, 1908. And the man was positioned in a half-seated pose and wasn't carrying any form of identification. When the police searched the body, any clues, they were led to the train station where a suitcase with a number of items likely belonging to the man was found. But still, there was nothing to identify this man. But as the pathologist re-examined his clothing, they found a piece of paper torn out of a book with words Tamam Shad. Yeah, so Tamam Shad, which basically means it's finished in Persian. The words came from a book and a poem titled The Rubaiyat, but by an Iranian author, and this book was later handed to the police. In the back of the book's cover, there was a handwritten note in some kind of code, and this is the note, and a phone number that belonged to a woman seeming unconnected to the case, and yet she got visibly frightened or shocked when she looked at the Somerton face. And there's just a lot to this story. There's a lot of plot twists and turns in this case. So again, I encourage you to you know, look the case up, just get the whole story. But for those of you who knew the case, there was a huge breakthrough that might just close this case for once and for all after 73 years. Because we have a possible identity of the Somerton Man. So remember this, like if you were in my last stream, my Patreon stream, I mentioned this professor whose name is Derek Abbott, and he works at the Adelaide University. And this is the one who actually hit it off with one of the possible witnesses and a suspected relative of the Somerton Man. It was like this lady named Rachel, and it was like she was connected to the case somehow, like he believed that she's the relative of the Somerton Man, and then he ended up marrying Rachel, so this lady. And he tested her DNA, so I mean, you know, the things that you do for the case to solve the case. Yeah, you know, the case just sounded like just suddenly became like a soap opera or K-drama, and when I covered it, and I loved every bit. It was a lot. It was a whole, you know, a whole mess. Anyway, so he was analyzing Somerton Man's DNA and was trying to find any possible relatives. And he may have gotten a breakthrough. Oh, I mean, he says like he's 99% sure this Somerton Man is this person. So Abbott and a forensic genealogist, Professor Colleen Fitzpatrick, opted to use DNA sequencing from the Somerton Man's hair stuck in the plaster mask made back in the 1940s. Then the hair was examined for years and years by a team of DNA experts in Adelaide, which then provided Abbott and Fitzpatrick with a field of 4,000 possible names. And they claimed they had managed to narrow it down to one, a particular person, Charles Webb. And Carl Webb was an electrical engineer and instrument maker from Melbourne, and he was born in 1905. Abbott said that, quote, by filling out this tree, he managed to find a first cousin 3 times removed on his mother's side. End quote. And he followed by saying that they had matched DNA from that hair to a DNA that test taken by one of Webb's distant relatives. So, they are 99% sure that this person was related to Somerton Man, but it is not yet 100% confirmed that by the authorities that the Somerton Man is in fact Carl Webb. And the investigation now expanded into figuring out if Carl Webb could be placed in the same place and time as the Somerton Man. They are still also searching for the photos of Carl Webb to do a visual comparison to Somerton Man. And Colleen Fitzpatrick said, quote, the last known record... Oh, sorry. Before I go to the quote, so apparently Carl Webb was born and raised in Melbourne and eventually married a woman named Dorothy Robertson, or Dove Webb. This was his wife. And then Colleen Fitzpatrick said, so the forensic genealogist, oh god, IDK Bacon just said, hug me please. Sure, hug. Why not? Sending you a virtual hug. So the Professor Fitzpatrick said, quote, the last known record we have of Carl Webb, is in April 1947 when he left Dorothy. Disappeared, and she appeared in court saying that he had disappeared and she wanted a divorce, end quote. So Dorothy and Carl had no children and he suddenly disappeared, so she eventually filed for divorce, as Colleen Fitzpatrick said. Then Dorothy moved Butte, which is South Australia, in 1951, and that is a neighboring state to Adelaide, where the Somerton Man's body was found. So Carl Webb, it's completely possible that Carl Webb might have found out where his wife is, and he eventually decided to travel and find his missing wife, find his wife who moved to that part of Australia. And Carl Webb also liked betting on horses, which would explain the strange code found in on Somerton Man, or in the book that belonged to Somerton Man, which could correspond to horses' names. Carl Webb was also known as a poetry enthusiast, so apparently he also wrote his own poems, and this would explain why he had this this piece of paper torn out of a poem from this book, the Rubaiyat. And maybe that's how everything connects him to the Tamam food poem. Now, all we need right now is to do a picture comparison of Carl Webb and the Somerton Man, so the visual comparison. And the 73-year-old mystery of the Somerton Man may finally be. And that's it. that's it for the update. For now, this is all I have. Okay. Now, let me just hydrate because my throat just went eh. Alrighty, so okay, so let's move on to today's case. So who put Bella in the Wych Elm? On April 18th, 1943, 4 young boys were bird nesting and poaching in Hagley Wood, which is in England, and that's a private property. At least it used to be a private property of one Lord Topham. I apologize if I mispronounce any name, cities, towns. Yeah. So those 4 boys came across a particularly large hollow elm tree, or, well, I mean, okay, so this has been called Wych Elm tree, apparently mistakenly, like it's supposed to be a different, like hazel witch. It was a different kind of tree, but for some reason it just took that this was, it just kind of like set in people's minds that this was a hollow elm tree, Wych Elm. So those 4 boys, they thought it was a perfect place for birds to build nests and decided to take a peek. But when one of the boys climbed the tree in order to look inside the hollow trunk, did not expect to find remains. Yet there it was. He found a human skull. And thus began the decades-long investigation into who put Bella in the Wych Elm. So the 4 teenagers who found the skull were Robert Hart, Bob Farmer, Thomas Willits, and Fred Payne. The thing is, they initially made a pact. Actually, like when they discovered the skull, they made a pact not to go to the police and not to tell anyone about the horrifying discovery. Holy shit. And that was because like mainly because Hagley Wood, as I mentioned, was part of a private property and they were technically trespassing legally, which made them scared of consequences. Had they gone to the police, they might have been in trouble for trespassing on a private land. Initially, the boys, thought the skull that of an animal, but when Bob Farmer, so one of the boys who climbed the tree, pulled the skull out, they realized that the skull had human teeth and some remaining hair still attached to the skull. So it was definitely not an animal. This and the fact that they were on, like the property illegally. So this scared them, obviously, that they found human. Then it scared them that they were on a private property illegally. They were like, what if someone accuses us of doing something to this person? Also, we were trespassing. Like, we're gonna get in a lot of trouble. So they put the skull back into the trunk and walked away. But because they are teenagers, they have a sense of integrity of a crushed peanut, and eventually one of the boys spilled the beans to his parents. Etc. As Bob. Bob sounds like a bastard who go around and run his mouth to everyone. Zero solidarity. Fuck you, Bob. So now that the secret was out, thanks to a certain someone I will not name, Bob, the parents of that kid, Bob, obviously informed the authorities about the gruesome discovery. Fuck you, Bob. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. It wasn't actually Bob. It was actually Tommy. So you suck, Tommy. Fuck you. Bob just sounds like a blabbermouth. And I don't know why I chose Bob. No, it was actually Tommy who called the parents. So betrayal, Tommy. Betrayal. Not cool. Followed the report, oh god, I can't pronounce this, but the county police force basically headed to the location of the remains of the following morning. So they headed to Hagley Wood, and what they found was so much more than just the skull. Everyone's like, fuck Tommy. No, seriously, I don't know why, but Bob sounded like the one who could just like blabber around about it, but yeah, it was Tommy. So Betrayal. Fuck you, Bob. Fear 2022. I'm sorry. This whole time, wait, Kanta, this whole time I thought it was Wych Elm as a nickname. Actually, I'm gonna get to that. So some of those like that phrase, like some people just spell it as Wych Elm as in an actual witch, not WYNCH. You just spelled it like normally as you would spell the witch. But I'm gonna get to that. Okay, so as I said, the police headed to the location of the remains the following morning, and what they found was so much more than the skull. So inside and around the elm tree, they found an almost complete skeleton, as well as fragments of rotten clothing, like female clothing, and a bottle, as well as shoe. The skull had remains of some hair. It had a small patch of rotting flesh on the forehead and crooked front. Another part another thing found by the police was the hand from the body that was buried further away from the tree, or another one was like buried under the tree. So it wasn't hidden in the trunk, it was like somewhere around the tree. The one in charge of examining the remains was Professor James Webster of the Home Office Forensic Science Laboratory in the West Midlands. He examined the remains and determined they belonged to a petite female aged between 25 and 40, although he said she was likely 35, who had been dead for at least 18 months, which would place her death sometime in October 1991. And Professor Webster said on record, quote, "I cannot imagine a woman accidentally slipping in there. Neither do I think it reasonable for a woman to crawl into that place to commit suicide," end quote. And I can't. Justice for Bob. I'm sorry! Sorry, but Bob just sounds like an asshole. If bodies are found on private property, are the owner of the property immediately questioned? I mean, I would think so. Like, if it... I mean, okay, so this property was apparently, like, huge. I don't have the information whether or not the police actually questioned the Lord Cobham, whatever his name was, but I assume so. I assume they did, you know, question. That was the first person they would go to, like, after the boys who found the body, but yeah, I would assume so. Although I don't have the information whether or not he was questioned, but he wasn't involved. At least doesn't. Okay. How do you know it's a mock wedding ring? So, okay, so I'm gonna explain it. So when Dr. or Professor Webster examined the body, he determined that her death was definitely not of natural causes. Not only because of the location of the body, but also because of a piece of fabric found in the woman's mouth and throat. So this woman died of asphyxiation, suffocation. Professor Webster also pointed out that the body had been hidden in the tree trunk either when she was still alive or immediately after her death. Otherwise, it would be impossible to place her in the trunk once the rigor mortis had set in. One more interesting discovery was that this woman had likely given birth at least once in her lifetime, and here I don't have specific information why he made this, but I can only guess it was likely because of based on the shape of her pelvic bone and changes that typically happen after one gave birth. So this woman was 5 feet tall, had light brown hair, and was dressed in dark blue and mustard colored striped cardigan and mustard colored skirt. The clothing was determined to be of poor quality, and he also had what seemed to be a wedding band, and it was made of like a gold imitation, which is like referred to as rolled gold. And it's actually like this poor quality or it was poor quality gold, which the ring was like worn by the woman, likely for about 4 years. But yeah, it was determined that this was not a real gold ring. It was imitation. Despite the fact that the authorities gathered quite a lot of evidence, they knew from the get-go that finding out who this woman was is not going to be easy. The problem was, all of this was happening in the midst of the Second World War, and honestly, there was at least one person going missing every single day. Not only that, this woman didn't necessarily have to be local. She could have been someone passing through while heading for a different location, a different place. She could have been a refugee from a different country. What was promising, though, was the fact that this woman had a very distinct teeth. So the investigators were hoping that at least one dentist in the whole country would recognize them. But despite sending photographs of the victim's teeth to every dentist, nothing came back. No leads. And at the same time, the police were cross-referencing this Jane Doe with other known missing persons from the region, but none of them matched this particular woman, definitely not. So it was a dead end. It was as if this woman had no family, wasn't like searched for by one, she didn't have friends, maybe, wasn't even from this country. Then detectives focused on tracking down the identity of people who had purchased clothing items matching those of the victims, focusing especially on the shoes because those shoes were like in the best condition apparently. They traced the shoes to the Waterfoot company located in Lancashire. Lancashire. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. And even managed to find the owners of all but 6 pairs. And all those pairs were sold from a market in Dudley, which is a town close to Birmingham. So it was also close to the location of the body. Vlad mentioned that forest as well. I hadn't thought about it since the Paul brother. Wait. Okay, I'm lost. What was the forest? Wouldn't you go into... Oh. Right, obviously that person hasn't heard about a forest in Japan that is known for that exact reason. Oh yeah, follower of the twin goddesses. The forest is actually called Aokigahara. And it is in the Shizuoka prefecture. I lived in Shizuoka prefecture for a while. Did not go to the forest because it creeps me out, but yeah. Forest is pretty. Paul, like Jake Paul, Logan Paul, who like did some shady stuff in the, like he found the body. I know, it was terrible. Fuck that guy. Okay, so moving on, the tree murder riddle was quickly going cold, especially due to the overwhelming number of war tragedies, and missing people and murdered people that was just happening in the middle of this chaos. Until 6 months after the discovery of the body, the case took an unexpected and more puzzling twist. See, a sentence written in chalk appeared on a wall of an empty building in the West Midlands town of Old Hill, and the sentence said, quote, "Who put Bella down the Wych Elm?" This is actually the quote on the screen, actually the later one. Like I don't know, I'm not sure if this picture is the actual photo of the quote, or if it's just a recreation. But another version of this quote, here the reports are quite messy because when it comes to which version of the sentence and location of the graffiti came first, as well as the spelling. But I will just go with the most commonly reported order. So back to the content of the graffiti. Investigators finally had something to go off of. So was this woman's name Bella? And it's spelled L-U and Bella. So this name was quite unusual, but that could also mean it will be easier to find a woman with this kind of name. They left no rock unturned. And yet, they didn't find a match for any Lubella who may have gone missing in the area or the country. There was no one of this with this name. If someone knew something about this woman, they were simply not talking. They were forward. Then another piece of graffiti in Birmingham, and this time it said, quote, "Who put Bella in the Wych Elm, Hagley Wood?" So this is the second quote, or as the reports say, okay, this quote was the second, the Lubella one was the first one. And yet, still, no one came forward with any. Evening Dispatch paper reported on March 30th, 1944 that, quote, "The writing was too high on the wall to have been done by boys, and the police are inclined to the view that it is the work of someone coming into the city early in the morning, farm produce," end quote. So now the question is, was an actual witness behind these writings, or were they on police? So while the police were trying to find author and a possible witness, people started talking more and more about the case, and wild theories started emerging. A very popular theory speculated that Bella could have fallen a victim to a black magic or satanic ritual. To begin with, Hagley Wood had this particular reputation of serving as a meeting place for witches' covens. It sounds like a complete superstition, but to many people, the strange placement of the victim's body in the hollow trunk, with her hands cut off and buried under the tree, it resembled a particular witchcraft ritual. In a series of articles for the Birmingham Daily Post in 1968, Donald McCormick describes the following, quote, "There was an ancient tradition that the spirit of a dead witch could be imprisoned in the hollow of a tree, thus prevented from wreaking any more harm in the world," end quote. And on the other hand, an anthropologist, Professor Margaret Murray, pointed out that Bella's death resembled, albeit very, very loose, an occult ceremony called Hand of Glory. But according to Wikipedia, it really is, sounds very, I don't know, the connection is very, very loose. I didn't think it sounded like Bella fell victim to Hand of Glory ritual. But Wikipedia says that, quote, "Hand of Glory is the dried and pickled hand of a hanged man, often specified as being the left hand, so the sinister hand, of the person if the person was hanged for murder, and the hand that..." So basically, this was the hand that did the deed. But I don't know. So that did the deed. Kind of sexual. I don't know. Little rapey. Never mind. Man, that sounded bad. Which witch is which? At the witch eating a sandwich. Oh my god. IDK bacon, come on. But yeah, it's very confusing. So Professor Murray believes that Bella's murder was connected to another one that happened in the nearby village of Lower Quinton, where a man named Charles Walton, who was stabbed and pinned down to the ground with his own pitchfork. She also finds a potential connection with the name Bella, because it would come from a plant called belladonna, also known as witch hazel, and it is known to be associated with the occult and witchcraft. So he was speculating that whoever wrote the sentence graffiti on the wall maybe knew about belladonna being used in the witch ritual, or maybe that this is the witch hazel. They connected the tree Wych Elm to be witch hazel, and that's how the name Bella came to. So Bella could have been slain in a ritualistic way as a punishment for some crime against her coven, so she could have been a witch, or for something she did to one of the members of the coven. So she didn't have to be a witch, but maybe she wronged coven or some kind of witch, and that's how she ended up in. Pickled hand of a hanged murderer. Did I hear that right? Yeah. Yeah, but that's why I said it was like this connection that Professor Murray made. It was very loosely. I don't know. Like I'm not seeing the connection to the Hand of Glory ritual because it's like it doesn't really match unless Bella was actually a murderer. IDK. Did anyone ever think of what the FBI thinks looking at Sona's search history with these constant murders and killers and stuff, or is it just, oh yeah, FBI is totally on, like, you know, on my case, totally on my case, definitely on my case. Please don't arrest me. I just like true crime stories. I don't do anything. I swear. I'm not like those psychos who just like look up horror stories and like, you know, kind of weird extreme things and how to kill someone and they actually kill someone. I swear I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. Also, I would like to request my attorney. I will not answer any questions without my attorney. Okay. I watched too much Suits. I'm just gonna slap you with a subpoena. That's basically what happens in every episode. Anyway, so I'm just digressing. Okay, so as I said, like this connection to the Hand of Glory, you know, it was just like too loose to me. Maybe like another ritual that yeah, like the witch was kind of supposedly, oh, the hands were cut off and she was buried in hidden in the hollow tree trunk, kind of imprison her. That kind of sounds more like it. And this theory is you know, the favorite and most sensationalized, although the investigators denied any sort of satanic cult or witchcraft being involved, because obviously it's crazy, saying that Bella's hands and other bones were simply scavenged by wild animals and scattered around the tree. So it wasn't anything unusual, it's just wild animals. And then we move on to different other theories connected to the case. So Donald McCormick explores a more likely theory that Bella could have been a prostitute and had simply been lured by Cora into the woods and killed there. And there may be more to this story because police report mentioned a prostitute nicknamed Bella that went missing in 1941, which would make sense because this Bella, this woman, was or likely died in October 1940. So the prostitute nicknamed Bella was believed that it's believed that she had been likely killed by her own over some personal. He also considered the refugee theory, saying that the police, quote, the police thought it was more probable that she was a refugee from the Blitz. For many people fled from Birmingham when the German air raids came, and some had been known to shelter in Hagley Wood. End quote. So, you know, either it could be this prostitute mentioned in some police report, or it could be a refugee. You know, a refugee just fleeing the city, fleeing Birmingham, when air raids just striking the city. And then there was another puzzling turn. Years later, Bella could be a spy. Obviously. I mean, come on. Somerton Man, spy. Bella from the Wych Elm, spy. D.B. Cooper, definitely a spy. Oh, that motherfucker was definitely a spy. Anyway. Also, I covered D.B. Cooper case on Patreon, so hey, if you want to hear me just like going kind of insane over the fact that he was probably a spy, head over to it. Okay, so in 1953, a woman introducing herself as Anna Laverly sent a letter to Wolverhampton Express and Star newspaper. claiming that she had information about and knew the identity of Bella. She agreed to an interview for the paper in which she said that Bella was a member of a German spy family, and that she was tasked with infiltrating the local munition factories that could be the next target of the enemy forces. She said that Bella was a Dutch woman who arrived illegally in England in 1941 but was killed sometime during her mission. While it sounds crazy now, it wasn't unheard of back then, because during World War II, several German spies ended up captured in the UK. So a war espionage theory wasn't completely unbelievable. And there is more to this theory. There's like, it gets so, I have to say, like, it gets so, not complicated, but it gets kind of soapy. Well, I mean, like K-drama-ish. It's all coming together. It's all a conspiracy. You're the perfect. Oh my god! Everyone's just like hung up on the fact that I might be you know, being traced by FBI, by the FBI, and just looked in. I'm not. Is this Spy Family prologue? Maybe. Okay, so in a shitty French accent, there's a spy among us. I can't do a shitty French accent, so pardon me. Shout out if you get that reference. What? I don't know that reference. Wait, is it? Could it be Detective Poirot? Agatha Christie's novels? I mean, it sounds like. Could be. Okay, so moving on with the story. So, now going back to Anna, it was soon revealed that her real name was Una Mossop, and she said that her husband, a Royal Air Force pilot, Jack Mossop, confessed that he had involved himself in a spy ring and he had actually witnessed Bella's death. According to Jack, he started working with Dutchman Van Raalte. And then, one evening, Van Raalte would pick up Jack Mossop in a car while there was another person in the vehicle, and it was a young woman. Then they drove out into the woods, where Van Raalte strangled the woman to death because he claimed she had betrayed their agency. But the thing is, it doesn't really. I mean, we don't have any evidence to confirm Jack's story besides like what Anna told us, because Jack Mossop is known to have died in St. George's Hospital before Bella was even found, and the mysterious Van Raalte was never found, so we don't even know if this guy existed. But there is something else. So German intelligence records mentioned an agent with a codenamed Clara, who would have been dropped from a plane. So like she would have parachuted in the area between Birmingham and Kidderminster in March or April of 1941. However, that agent never made contact with intelligence after that, so was not heard from ever again. Could it be that Bella or Clara did not survive the jump due to a parachute function or something like that, and you know she had fallen to her death? And could it be that someone witnessed her death and put her in the trunk, hide the evidence? Or maybe a fellow agent, maybe it was like much later, you know, around October 1941, maybe parachuting again, or you know, something like that, and then she just died in Hagley Wood. It is known that a German intelligence recruiter named Leher, I don't know how to pronounce this name, excuse me. So he had a lover in Kidderminster before the war. This lover, like the supposed lover, was known to be a Dutch woman who was fluent in English. Also, years later, declassified MI5 files revealed information about the German spy by the name Joseph Jacobs, who was captured while parachuting into Cambridgeshire around 1941. Cambridgeshire. I guess which. Well, I suck with names. Was it gonna be? Wait. Chance Freely says, I have done nothing but teleport red for 3 days. What? God. Alright, so moving on with the story. So as I said, there was this guy, this agent, supposed German agent, Joseph Jacobs, and he had this lover who was fluent in English. Oh no, sorry. So he was, I kind of messed up. So he was captured in 1941, and after he was taken into custody, a photograph of a woman was found in his pocket, and the photograph was of a famous German actress by the name Clara. And when questioned about her, Joseph confessed that Clara was his lover, and she was also recruited to be a spy, so everyone is a spy in this. So they were, they were lovers. She was a spy. Perfect. Spy family. Then he would tell the police that Clara had in fact parachuted into the West Midlands in 1941, but disappeared without a trace. So this would again line up with the death of Bella in that elm tree, or wych elm tree. And, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Unfortunately, before Joseph Jacobs could be connected to Bella's case and questioned further, he was executed by a firing squad in August of 1941. And I when I read this, I was like, what the fuck? So you didn't question him about the case, but then I remembered it was 1941. The body was found in 1943, if I remember correctly. Yeah, 1943. And yeah, so they didn't even know about Bella's existence in that tree trunk. So they just killed the witness. I mean, unknowingly, but how fucked up. Like, why? Why? Now, this was a legitimate lead. Was Bella's true identity Clara, I guess Clara Aware? But I don't know how to pronounce her last name. That's why I didn't pronounce it. So this, the woman. But turns out that investigators are doubtful, because Clara was a tall, this actress, she was a tall woman. She was 5 foot 10 inches, which is 1.78 meters tall. While Bella was much shorter. She was only 5 feet, 1.50 meters. And later was also discovered that Clara, the actress, died in Berlin in 1942. So it's impossible that she and Bella were the same person. Even though decades have passed, the mystery of Bella and the wych elm still puzzles investigators and amateurs alike to this day. But it's very unlikely. I mean, it's unlikely that it's gonna be solved, but actually maybe not. We see Somerton Man being possibly solved after 73 years. So, and it was the same, similar timeline, because he was found in 1949. She was found in 1943. Hey, who knows? Technology, especially forensic technology, is going forward. It's getting more and more advanced. They may find her. They find out who she is. But that is it for this. That is it for the story. Before we finish, I just wanted to send all my thanks to Patreons and members, channel members. Obviously, you guys are here in the live chat. But thank you so much to all of my Patreons. I appreciate it given to my channel. Wait, okay. Unless she was a clone. Okay, yeah, sure. She could have been a clone. Let me just switch back to that. Buying a gun for Sona. What are you guys plotting? Why? Why are you guys plotting this? Please don't buy me a gun. I don't want a gun. I don't want a gun. It's enough that the FBI is tracking my my internet activity right now, because I'm looking at all those. But yeah, don't buy me a gun. Also because it's illegal where I live. So I will be arrested. I think discovered. What? Suspicious. What? Oh, I think Discover thinks me donating to Sona is suspicious. Why is it suggesting you different weird stuff? I'm sorry. She knows. Listen, don't send me a gun. God damn. Guns are fun. No, they are not. I mean, I don't like them. So. No, please don't. Please don't. Also, because FBI is tracing me. Please don't give them even more, like, you know, material. Even more evidence. Oh, Vlad. Oh my god. Thank you so much for the donation. Funds for Sona's future murders. Oh god! Don't finance, you know, crime that hasn't happened and will not happen. Please. I mean, could you... Really? Honestly, you guys. Come on, you could have said like, hey, you mean the true crime cases that I'm gonna cover, not actually act about... Oh my god, I'm just like digging my own grave. Okay, but this is pretty much it for the case. It wasn't a long case, obviously. And the Somerton Man update is pretty promising. It's actually promising. I'm just gonna, you know, like follow the case. I'm gonna keep track of any updates, and I will definitely tell you guys if there's a huge update, or if they confirm that Somerton Man is in fact Carl Webb. Also, I had to like take a deep breath because I was just talking so fast that I forgot to breathe. Okay. The song run starts playing. Oh, please don't. Well, I mean, if this might be my last stream, then you will not hear from me again. And yeah, FBI got to me. Gone. FBI, CIA, MI6, MI5, I don't know. Yeah, Polish police, Taiwanese police. Yeah, I'll be gone. So if I don't show up on my channel a month, probably gone. Okay, but besides, you know, besides the case today, besides the update, thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in. I'm currently pretty busy preparing for another Patreon campaign, and this time I will have a little game for you. So if you are a Patreon member, there will be a spy game. Well, not spy game. Well, kind of. There will be a case for you to. There will be something for you to solve. So I'm currently working on it. There's gonna be definitely more things than just the riddle, just the street part. I hope you can check it out. You can check out my. Check out, subscribe, like, I don't know, do whatever you want, or don't. I don't care. It's fine. It's fine. You don't have to. But hey, if you like the video, please do, you know, take a second to like the video, to like the stream. And you know, if you can, that really helps. And also commenting, liking helps, and everything helps, and subscribing helps. Okay, I sound like a classic YouTuber. You know what? Do whatever the fuck you want. Okay. But that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Stay safe out there. Always lock your doors and windows. Bury your axes, and don't crawl into a hollow elm tree, because it's not gonna get out and you die terrible death. Oh yeah, don't do that. That's it. Until time.